I thought our guys did a good job. We came back in on Friday once we got back that afternoon and went over that game, kind of put it to bed, and moving forward to BG. I think that environment was a tough environment for our offense, I think, to operate, certainly with the kind of noise we had. I did think our kids played with great poise and discipline. It was one thing we focused in the offseason was being a disciplined team. I think we had 4 penalties, all false starts. But other than that, we guys played clean. Thought special teams was very solid, including the first kickoff return that we had. got very good positive yards on that. I thought we covered punts well, knocked down our field goal, so that was certainly a positive for us, something we can build off of for sure. Defensively, I thought they played very solid, played hard, did not give up any big plays. They had the ball 40 minutes, and to hold them, to what we did, I thought they did an outstanding job with that. Obviously, I think, get off the field a little bit more on third downs maybe, if you had to knock some of the things on defense. And the other thing would be, they had the ball on the ground a couple of times, and we got to fall on the ball. And then Logan had an opportunity for a pick six in that game as well. You got to take advantage of those opportunities defensively so we can try to win that turnover margin. That was huge for us. Obviously, the difference in the game was the turnovers. The one right before the half, and then obviously at the end of the game. So, but moving on this week, BG, I think watching their game from last week, guys play hard, they're coached well. Coach George and his staff has done a really good job. We went back and watched Tennessee State as well. Did some really good things there also. These guys will play hard. There's no question about it. They play physical. Going back to BG last year, I think they lost to Penn State by a touchdown, Texas A&M by 6. They're not going to be intimidated about coming in here playing. So we certainly got to continue to elevate our play with the same intensity, execute better at a higher level in order to go out and play a great game this week.
On that last play, there was some mention of them disguising coverages, Nebraska. Had they shown that look where cover one and then drop back into cover two, or was that something that they kind of surprised Sorsby with there?
Yeah, I thought, just first of all, going into the game, you don't really know what they were going to do back on the back end. Thought the strength of their defense was the back end. All the starters that came back. They in that drive, we don't have any timeouts. They were playing a lot of man and two-man trail technique, meaning they're underneath the receivers with the 2 high safeties there. It makes it very difficult to complete footballs. And I think, we had a couple scrambles that got the drive going. Great play on fourth down. Cyrus, it was two-man, and the guy's undercutting him, and he did a great job of pushing it out, and Sorsby hitting him to get the first down. Then we get a PI. We get down, and it's first down on a plus 33, 41 seconds, no timeouts. We said, let's take a shot. All right, so we run slant and go. And pre-snap, it looks a one-high look. Looks like man-free. Right on the snap, the safety is covering our number 2 receiver, just runs straight back to the deep half of the field. The corner's a hard corner because it's cover 2, so Goody's running the slant and go. As soon as he comes off the corner, he's wide open. And Sorsby sees it. He's wide open. Let me get it out there to him. As he's letting the ball go, he realizes the safety's running back, and he's like, uh-oh. And the guy made a great play. Number 7's a good player for them. That disguise is a great disguise and a great play by that safety. We had not seen that, but I thought obviously a great call for them. But our thought process was, hey, let's throw the slant and go. It's either we catch it or nobody catches it. It'll be 2nd and 10, and let's go to the next down. Obviously made a great play to end the game right there.
In your time with Brennan, what have you seen from him in those kind of moments when he makes the big mistake, whether it's against West Virginia last year, against Nebraska? Is he someone who might dwell a little bit? Does he move on really quickly? What is he like?
Yeah, obviously I think it's difficult as a quarterback. When you're in a position, if you make a negative play, you have to forget it. You have to move on. You have to go on to the next play. But that's the last play, so now you got to live with that one until we get out here on Saturday. I thought he did a good job. Sunday, Friday we come back in and we watch the film and put it to bed. And obviously frustration is in the building. Sunday we went out and practiced a more of an extended Sunday practice for us, and I thought really good job of going out. The guys practiced hard. And really focused on this week. I think you got to put it to bed. You can't dwell on that. You had to learn from it. I thought, it was a great play by them. Obviously, if he had it over, he would have thrown it wider and deeper, and where we catch it, nobody catches it. But it's something you have to learn from, and you have to move on, and so you don't make that same mistake again.
You have Drew Pine this week.
Yep.
Been all over the place. Do you go as far back to 2021 when he played for Notre Dame against UC?
No, I don't think you go back that far. I think, obviously he's playing in a lot of different programs. The thing that he's obviously got a lot of talent, probably very smart player. In order to start at 40, that's hard to do. I mean, as a quarterback, he's to start at this many places and schools and to be able to continue to play. And so he's certainly got a lot of experience. You're not going to, show him anything that he hasn't already seen. He does a really good job, got great mechanics, accurate passer. So certainly a capable quarterback that can do everything they're asking him to do. I think they have some outstanding running backs at BG that really run hard, are fast. They're, mainly last week relied on the run. Now, obviously, new week, week number 2, we'll see what kind of wrinkles they present themselves this week.
Scott, Brennan mentioned to us last week that you trust him more. Is there something in particular that you can point to that can help him and this team push the ball further down the field throughout the game and not wait to do that until the fourth quarter?
Yeah, we threw 5. I think it was 5. We were 0 for 5 on balls that were thrown down the field last week. And I think, early we had one to Jeff Caldwell. We pushed down the field. We had 2 fade balls to Cyrus. Love for Cyrus to come up with those catches. They were both probably underthrown a little bit, but he can make those catches. One of them would have been a touchdown. The other one was a false start, so they would have called it back. The first play of the game to Goody down the sideline. So I think certainly you have to pick and choose when we're going to push the ball down the field. I think more completion percentages. I think we want to get that up. I think it was this past weekend 52%. So we want to get that up. To me, get the ball in the hands of these guys. Our guys can run, so get the ball in their hands and let them run. Now, I think obviously a lot of defense dictates this. Are you getting, what kind of coverage are you getting? Are you getting some free access throws? Obviously, that's easy to take those, but when you're getting tight man, that's where our guys have to win. BG, they certainly have shown man coverage at Tennessee State and last week at BG. So, our guys will be challenged. They got to get loose. They got to win some one-on-one matchups, and they got to go make the plays.
You mentioned Eddie George's first year at Bowling Green. Talk about what kind of challenges that might present for your home opener on Saturday, knowing first year under Eddie George, great NFL resume. Talk about the challenges that might present for a team like Cincinnati.
Well, you playing a team like I mentioned earlier that they don't care who they're playing. They're going to show up and play and expect to win. I think I've played against a bunch of MAC teams, including Miami. These guys, man, they love playing a team that's at the power level. They want to prove that they belong playing at the power level. So you're going to get their best shot. You're going to get guys that are going to be more focused and dialed in, something to prove, all those type things. And so, for our guys, it's got to be a great week this week and going out and trying to build off of what we did, the positives that we did last week, and get the things corrected that we didn't do well. So it's always a challenge, I think, when you're playing a team like a MAC team that's always going to be hungry and always trying to prove something when they play up. So, Coach George and his staff, a lot of guys from the NFL are on his staff. This game's not going to be big for them as far as any other game. They're going to have their guys prepared to play. We're going to get their best shot. We know that.
Just curious on how you continue to rotate the 2 running backs. Looked like Tawi had a pretty good game this past week, having limited carries. How do you go about that rotation moving forward?
Yeah, I thought both made some really good plays in the run game. Evan made some guys miss and got some positive yards. Tawi ran hard as well, got positive yards. I thought that certainly was a positive in the game for us offensively. Rushed for over 200 yards. I think Nebraska last year finished up maybe 8th in the country in run defense. So, they're certainly capable of stopping the run. And then you add that to Q runs as well. That Brendan, I think it's a great mix. I think it'll be – we'll see how practice goes this week to see, who's going to get those touches. Certainly, looking back on it, could have gotten more touches because we were getting some positive. I think they were averaging over 7 yards a carry. So let them guys continue to get work. And obviously it's going to move the chains, and I think all those guys are capable. I think Manny's capable as well. Manny, I thought, played outstanding in the special teams. I think he had 2.5 tackles in special teams. He also was our punt returner. I think he's really elevated himself in a special teams player. but I also believe in him as a running back too. So, we'll see how this week goes with those guys, but I think they're all capable.
Your run blocking obviously did okay. Any issues with the pass blocking and the struggles to throw downfield? Was there anything there that someone like me might not see?
No, I don't think so. I thought the pass pro was pretty good. I thought obviously the run blocking was good up front. I thought our offensive line played solid. We had 0 tackles for loss or sacks in the run game. I think we had 2 negative plays, and both were on pass plays, a screen play and then a swing pass to Cyrus. So I thought up front they did good. I thought they pass pro'd well. I think only a couple of times where Sorsby felt like he needed to get out of the pocket on some pass rush. But I think for the first game and playing against the front like Nebraska, I thought our O-line did a really fine job.
40 snaps for Dante. Is that about the range? Do you look back and say maybe we could have got him out there a little bit more? Is there a number on that? Does it feel? Because he was super effective when he was out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could probably get a little bit more. I think we went back and looked toward the end of last year when he was healthy. It was roughly around the same. Jay Hunt had 41, which was the most. Dante, second most at 40. We certainly want to rotate guys in there because you got to keep them fresh in the D-line for the end of half and end of game scenarios. And obviously you want those guys in critical downs for sure. But I think, looking back on it, I mean, obviously we chart everything and we got, these guys wear the catapults and we see where they're at. I think Dante's got a little bit more in the tank if we need to use him a little bit more, but obviously it's, we want him to play at an optimal level. You don't want to leave some guys out there and all of a sudden now they're at 75%. It's when injuries happen. So we certainly want to keep those guys fresh and rotate and see where we're at, as we head throughout the season. But around, 40 to 45 snaps is probably going to be where he's going to be.
Defense, especially kind of the depth guys. It looked like JT, Brian Sims, Marcus Parker all had really good games.
Yeah, very productive. JT was very productive. Golday, very productive. I thought Monte, all those guys, I thought, man, it's just a really good rotation at the linebacker position, where Sincere played too. I think we played 7 guys, rotated them, and it's really not a drop-off. I mean, I really think different guys have different strengths, and they bring it to the table. But the thing that they did, they played extremely hard. They ran it, and they hit the ball carriers. They made plays. And I think we're certainly going to need that. Our linebackers are going to make plays for us, just the way our defense is. They're going to be some of the top tacklers, along with that star position where Sanks is. I think in peak, I think we're certainly got to continue to see the play out of the linebackers. And I like what we did. We brought some of those guys. We got some sacks out of those guys as well. So we got to continue to be able to do that.
You mentioned the frustration that was in the building when you were watching the film back from that game. Last 2 years, you win your first game against FCS opponents, get to 1-0. What differences have you noticed from after week 1, your first 2 years here, and now this season? You're 0-1, but you just played a FBS Power 4 opponent to a 3-point game in essentially their backyard.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I said this last week, this is a different team. I feel like, these guys are, man, I love being around them. They come to work every day. We have talent. We have depth. We have an opportunity to have a special team. Now, obviously, we know, week in and week out, once we get into Big 12 play, I mean, all those teams are good. We've seen that. Any more in college football, they're all good, everybody you play. So you got to take it one game at a time. But for us and our team and this team is continue to grow and is continue to develop and continue to get better as a football team. We think we have an opportunity to have a special team now, but you do it one day at a time. And I liked where they were Sunday when they came in. They were focused, they were dialed in, they're hungry, they're eager to prove that we do have a special team. But you have to show that every single day. It's not a one-time thing. This is a consistent thing that you have to bring every single day, and that's kind of what we've focused on, and we've talked about it every single day. We will continue to talk about that. So, but I think, for us, it's all about BG this week, about going out and playing our very best game.
You mentioned the line of scrimmage touches. Didn't look like they gave you a ton against Nebraska. Was that more a them thing, or when you watched the film back, was there kind of some misassignments or plays blown up on lack of execution?
On what play? I mean, like what are you talking about?
Screens, line of scrimmage touches.
Well, yeah. I mean, some missed execution on our part. And a missed assignment on one play. The other play, I thought we got 3 guys to block the linebacker and we don't block him, and he gets free. That was the tackle for loss, the one. I mean, because you watch the film, we get him blocked. There's nobody else there. That's a huge play. I forget what down and distance was. We had Pryor in the flat, and he dropped it. And he'll tell you. I mean, he could score on that play. There's nobody else there. Like, he catches that, he's going to be on a safety that's 15 yards down the field. We've seen what Pryor can do in the open field. There's just a couple of opportunities like that. Like, if we hit some of those, I mean, there could be another 50, 60, 70 yards in the passing game, and they're big plays. And I think going back and looking at that was part of the frustration. Go back and look at it. Man, we had plays there we could have made that we didn't. And, we have to make those, though. You can only get a few opportunities where you have guys open and free. Cyrus on the fade ball in the end zone. I mean, Sorsby get a little bit further out there. Cyrus go up and catch it. We have to make those plays because they're not just presenting themselves every play. They're few and far between, but when they're there, you got to make them. Pryor, he just, you can see it on film. It's right before the ball hits his hands, he's turning his head. I mean, catch that ball, and then you probably score or may score. I mean, so I think it's just execution and then a little bit of, guys just, focusing and finishing the play.
You don't need much motivation, but is there any motivation at all knowing that Cincinnati's never beaten Bowling Green?
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't realize that 4 times. I guess all in the 90s, early 90s, that we didn't win. So, I mean, I don't know. It don't really bother me or matter to me. I mean, we're right now is where we're at. We got to go try to get 1-0 this week against Bowling Green. Certainly they have a really good football team. They're coached well, so we got to have a great week this week of our preparation and going out and playing our best game.
Looking at Bowling Green defensively, what kind of challenges do they present?
Yeah, I think aggressive. Right when you flip on the film, a lot of man coverage, a lot of DBs getting in their face. They're handsy. They're going to get their hands on the wideouts. They're going to make it a challenge for you to get off the line to go make plays. I think 3 and 4 are outstanding linebackers. They made all their tackles. I felt like Saturday. 3 is a guy they signed from Massillon that's playing inside. I think 4 transferred in, and they made a lot of plays. We got to block those guys. If you don't block those guys, they're going to be in on the tackle. And then I think obviously their safeties are aggressive to come down and make plays as well. So I think they do a really good job scheme-wise. They're always into places they need to be into. They don't really get out of position much. And even going back to Tennessee State, it was the same way. They put a lot of pressure and challenge the offense to make plays. They don't give you anything. You have to go out and make the play. I think they do a great job. Coach Fisher's a DC and does a really good job.
Does having a game like Nebraska, game 1, kind of change the thought process going forward? Like, there's no easing into the season now. You've played Nebraska, you're 0-1. You've got to build from there. Does it change kind of the next steps?
I don't know if it changes anything. I like playing a team like Nebraska coming out the chute because of how your preparation's got to be on point all summer and in the fall camp. You got to be dialed in to try to elevate your game to play and know what kind of game that's going to be. I think the challenge now is to continue to bring the kind of intensity and focus that we had leading up to the Nebraska game. I think human nature and the tendency is, to have a letdown in your focus and your preparation. Like, we can't have that. Like, it's got to be as hard to practice today as we had last Tuesday practice, to get ready for Nebraska. And I think that's the challenge that we'll present to our guys, and they'll be up to that challenge.
Going back to Bowling Green, special teams played a big role in their win last week. Opening kickoff, return for a touchdown, 4 field goals. How much of an emphasis are you putting on your special teams this week?
That's a great challenge for our guys this week. Coach George, when he got there, he kept their special teams coordinator from BG from last year because he did such a great job. Last year, they the same thing. They had the opening kickoff for a touchdown, which is hard to do. To do it again this year, I think that guy who returned at number 26, I think is his number. He's a 4-core special team guy for them. He's a great player for them. Their punter's back from last year. He's really good. Their field goal kicker obviously had a great day. I think he was the MAC special teams player of the week, nailing a 56-yarder and 4 field goals. So this is a really good special teams on BG, and I think we have to match and try to exceed that intensity when we play these guys. You better be on point. If you're not focused on your teams, then they will beat you in a play. They will either attempt at a block, they will get a big return on you. This is a big challenge for our teams this week.
Coach, coming off a game on ESPN on Thursday night in week 1 per se. Does that kind of play in a little bit of an advantage, having those few extra days heading into a FCS matchup in week 2 for a home opener?
Yeah, BG's got the same. They played on Thursday as well. So I do think that I like playing on the opening week on a Thursday because you do get 2 extra days to get ready, especially on a road trip for us. And we got back at 5:45 on Friday morning. So to get that extra rest, body recover, we came out of the game healthy, and I think that's good. So Sunday's practice was really good for us, and I think now that's going to move into Tuesday. So, yeah, I like having a couple extra days for sure when you're starting the season off to give you some extra time.
Final question.
Any update on Armani Arnold? Didn't see him on the field against Nebraska.
Yeah. I mean, I think came in Sunday feeling much better. So hopefully this week, we'll see how practice goes for Armani. But he's been battling some stuff all August, in and out of practice. Didn't practice a whole lot. So hopefully he says we feels better this week. We'll see where we're at this week.
Brendan, did they show that final look at all throughout the game until then, or did they kind of save it and sneak the safety lining up over, showing cover 1 and then sprinting him back?
They had ran the same coverage. It was just a really good disguise on the last snap. Like I said, props to those guys. Really good play by the safety. Yeah.
What have you done in your career to kind of teach yourself to move on from frustrating moments like that?
At the end of the day, it's football. Mistakes are going to happen. Obviously, you wouldn't like to throw a game-losing interception like that, but we got 11 games left. So, long season ahead, a lot of ball left, so there's no point in, letting this mistake at the end of the game drag out into the next week. I'm excited to get back out there with the guys and, showcase what we can do.
And when you look at Nebraska's secondary, obviously a lot of experience, a lot of really talented players there. Was it frustrating for you that you, in the offense, really struggled to push the ball down the field throughout the course of the game until really the fourth quarter?
Yeah, obviously, as an offense in general, you would like to be able to throw the ball down the field and have a bunch of explosive plays, but they did a good job of making us take everything, underneath. I got to do a better job of hitting some stuff. We just got to play pitch and catch out there and find a way to move the ball down the field and then get explosives that way, get them to come down, and then, take the deep shots whenever they come. But, props to those guys in the secondary and their defense as a whole.
You ran the ball well. Have you ever had, even in Indiana, a game like that where it just was a struggle to throw the ball, and how do you get over it?
Iowa State last year was very similar. Ran the ball a lot, ran it well, but just couldn't seem to get the ball going, throwing it. So we just got to find a way to consistently each week find ways to get the ball, down the field to our guys, and however that may be, we just got to figure out a way to do it. But obviously it's frustrating as a quarterback, but got to find a way to overcome it.
How much do you need to try to get Joe Royer involved in the pass game moving forward to kind of eliminate those downfield struggles?
We got to get all of our guys the ball, especially Joe, as many times as we can. So really just, it starts with me obviously being able to deliver a good accurate ball, but, just finding ways to get our guys the ball in space and let them go to work.
Brendan, obviously, after Thursday night, Caleb had the fumble and then the interception there at the end. Walk us through what those conversations were like with you and him, being a leader of this team and saying, hey, keep your head up, I got you the next time around.
Yeah, there's really nothing else to it other than that. Like I said, it's football. You're going to make mistakes. Obviously, both of those turnovers were pretty costly in the grand scheme of the game and everything. But we got to find a way to move on. We got 11 more games, a lot of conference play. Obviously, all of our goals are still ahead of us. So we got to take it 1 week at a time and bounce back this week.
Cyrus always wants the ball. Is there another guy that comes in the huddle and says, "What about me?" or would you like to have more of that? More.
No, all of our guys are that way. They're all hungry and they all want the ball. But we didn't throw the ball that well to anybody. So guys obviously upset. Nobody more upset than me. 69 passing yards is not up to my standard for sure. So definitely I know the guys' frustration as well. But, it wasn't like one of those games where I had 400 passing and, just one guy was just dominating, the stat sheet. No. There was not very many passing yards to go around, last Thursday. So we got to find a way to bounce back this week and, hit some easy stuff and get some guys going.
Can you explain the silent count and kind of how much more difficult that makes running an offense?
Obviously, it kind of throws you out of your rhythm a little bit. And then it's really, obviously, it's pretty easy to time up the snap. And then Gavin's got to try to mix it up a little bit just so they're not just jumping it as easily. And then just an accumulation of things is just, whenever everything's going on, maybe the guards or tackles hear something that didn't actually, get said or actually happen. So that's where the false starts will come from. It was a really loud atmosphere, so it was tough, obviously. But, we got to find a way, if we do have to do that going forward, just to clean up those little mistakes.
Atmosphere you've ever played in?
I think it was loud every snap of the game. They really didn't take too many plays off. So, yeah, it was probably number one for me.
Talk about the connection with Joe. Teams are going to come in and try to game plan him away. What do you guys need to do to maybe find a different strategy or whatever to get him open a little more?
It starts with just, showcasing our other guys and what they can do. And then, just play ball whenever it comes out to, whether it's a scramble drill or whatever it may be. Me and Joe are really good at doing off-schedule things. So just finding ways to get him the ball, whether it's, on schedule or off schedule, and, finding ways to get the other guys the ball so defenses have to respect everybody and can't just key on him.
Dante, 40 snaps. Did it feel good? Is that kind of the area you're looking for? Or are you over on the sidelines talking to Walt saying, hey, let me get back in there?
Well, I like to play a lot, but also I want to see my other guys succeed too. So if I have to play 40 snaps that game, I think it's not going to be every game. I probably had to hot end that game, just holding the double teams and stuff like that. It might be Zay day this coming up week. It might be Kamari day. So really don't matter about the reps. And I still feel good. They took care of me this offseason as far as not getting hit a lot. So I feel good.
Did that kind of getting a hand in Rula's face and forcing the 4th and 2 turnover rundown, does that feel like a I'm back moment for you?
Well, yeah, just putting me in different situations instead of just a head up zero, just showing my skill set. Just I can get out of a zero and get after the quarterback. So just game planning more of that and just showcasing more of my skill. But also Coach Vike putting us in the right place to succeed. So
Last time these two teams played was 1994, way before you were born.
yeah.
They've never beaten Bowling Green. Does that mean anything to you guys?
Say it again.
Cincinnati's never beaten Bowling Green. Does that mean anything?
Well, just another appetizer for us to be motivated to win this week. And just not looking past them. They're a very talented team, very Hall of Fame coach they got, so we know they run the ball. So it's just we're just respecting our opponent.
You mentioned being able to not line up just strictly straight over the center. How much does having Jalen help with that, where you guys can kind of flip-flop and be in a little bit different roles instead of you just being nose tackle every snap?
Well, yeah, he kind of reminded me of Briggs playing next to him, just not also getting all the look after, because they got to block him as well. He's a force to be reckoned with. He's a 300-pounder at the end, so he just got another presence. Then Michael Coleman, just a guy that's bringing up that length and that height we've been missing in the Big 12, and he's going to showcase his skills this year. So I'm very excited where our defense is at. We're very disappointed from the loss, but looking at it, we made a minimal mistakes, but I feel like we're going to be a really good defense this year, just knocking down them little mistakes.
When you think about the long-term development of this team, how much did the preparation for this last week help with those progressions?
Yeah, but we was looking back there from last year, just all the mistakes we made. So just building on top of that and honing in, we got to do our job and keep executing better. It's going to go way longer than what we did last year because we kind of harp on it later in the year. So now our main focus is to execute.
I saw a picture from the game, and it was pregame, and one of the referees had come up to you and was shaking your hand. Does that happen weekly with you, and how are those conversations?
I really don't remember, to be honest with you. I just be shaking people's hands and just moving on to my day, but I really don't look I'm honored that people come and shake my hand, but I'm really just focused on the game plan at that moment.
Do you talk too much during the game, though? I mean, say you give
not
me a
really,
call,
unless
dude.
they talk to me. I just be like, come on, guys.
What was it like to have Travis and Jason on the sideline right before that game started?
Yeah, I've built a great relationship with them since they came here, I think a year ago, with the little games they had. Since then, we have built this great relationship. So talking to them was a great motivator that day.
And then Dante, speaking of the stars in the building on Thursday night, Trey Smith was a guy Cincinnati got you in connection with after your health scare. Were you able to catch up with him, and how were those conversations?
I did not. I did not see him. I wish I did. I wanted to meet him in person. That would have went a long way, and just talk to him and appreciate and thank him again for he continued to support me throughout my career.
And then walk us through what that environment was like on Thursday night. Obviously, 73,000 fans roughly on a Thursday night. Walk us through as a player what it was like to play in
honest
that
thought,
environment.
I'm just like, all right, they're gonna fill the lower bowl, and then the captains came out, and I was just looking around like, okay, they travel well, but like it was a good environment. Though. I love moments like that to play for. So,
Jalen, it's been a long journey with last year not being able to get out there. How good did it feel Thursday night to be out there on the field and getting after it?
It felt really good, honestly. It's been a long year overdue for me, but I just took that whole year and just focused on that there and now, getting better and preparing for this upcoming year, which is now.
How satisfying was it as a leader to, have Nebraska get 40 minutes of time of possession, but only hold them to 20 points?
It felt good because in my head, I feel like we can be that great defense that the Baltimore Ravens used to have a few years ago when it was Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. Their mentality was to not let nobody score because if you can't score, you can't win. So I think that's our mentality as a defense. If you can't score, then we can win.
Are you happy with how you did against their offensive line, which they're very proud of, and is that going to help you going forward?
I think I did do good, but I also think I could do a lot better because I'm always trying to improve my game, no matter if it's the run game or pass game. I feel like I need to affect the quarterback more than what I did last game.
What did you see from Dante? Did it seem like he was back to his normal self that you've seen in practice?
He's good to me. Far as communication wise, we've been talking a lot on and off the field on how we can build our chemistry together, as not just us two, but as a D line in general. Because you never know what the line was going to be. So if we're all on the same page, then we can all execute at a high level.
You sometimes just laugh to yourself when you see him just kind of pick a guy up and carry him 5 yards into the backfield to the quarterback.
I mean, yeah, because the same thing he does in the practice, so it's no shock that you see it in the game. It's just crazier in the game because now he's moving at a different speed than what you see in practice.
Do you feel like Jake Golday is just waiting to break out and burst onto the scene as one of the best linebackers in the Big 12?
I think, personally, for my entire college career, Jake Golday is probably one of the best I've ever seen personally and played with. So I feel like him breaking out is going to happen sooner or later. Hopefully sooner, because when he breaks out, everybody's going to figure out how to stop him, how to stop Dante. Then it's going to be hard to stop everybody all at once.
Jalen, Dante just mentioned it a couple minutes ago about how playing alongside you on that defensive line reminds him of his time playing alongside Jawan Briggs. Could you just walk us through? Is that a good comparison for you there?
I think that's a great comparison because when I first transferred back in 2023, I looked up to Jawan Briggs. So I practiced in meetings. I always asked him, how can I get better at the game? Because when I got here, he knew the mental aspect of the game better than anybody I ever played with. So he taught me a lot about the game. So being compared to him is really good for me. I take that as a compliment.
And then walk us through the importance of having guys like yourself and Micah Coleman back for this defense compared to a season ago, and how big that is for this defense in terms of depth and veteran experience on the front line.
I mean, you just said it yourself. It's good to have us back because now we got depth and the veteran experience. Between me and Micah, we played multiple years. We played against different conferences. So having that veteran aspect added to the line, we can give back to what we know to the young guys that's going to play for us.